Hello and welcome. Today we're at the Lego house and we are about to take a look at some Lego cake and dinosaurs. Now this is a bit of a bonus video. This wasn't planned to be what it is, but it just happened to get busy at the wrong time, which actually turned out to be the perfect time because I felt quite fresh when I was making this video and I started to spot a load of new things on the dinosaurs that I've never spotted before with regards to the elements that they use for actually making the dinosaur. So for example, the toes on this dinosaur are made from Duplo scoops. So if you have never caught any of these videos before, this is the first bit up from the staircase. It is a massive sort of creativity tree that we walk up. All of this will be available coming and also available within the playlist already, but not in this detail. So the red dinosaur is all made from Duplo elements, and then you've got the one in the middle which is made from Lego bricks, and the one at the far end is the Lego Technic. So this was just going to be a quick, like I said, quick pan round, and then we're going to look at the glass displays, but it happens to be, it works out to be perfect because the amount of different things I actually spot on the Lego Technic one and also the actual Lego one as well is amazing. Now, because of the elements that are made, the three different cakes are obviously different as well. So as we go round, we will see that there is a massive chunk missing out of the Lego cake, and then the Technic cake is obviously made from Lego Technic. Now the roof, you can see, is just like a big Lego brick, and those circular bits in the ceiling is where you can actually stand on and look down. Now if you look at this one, this is the Lego T-Rex, big chunk missing, and then when we go into further detail, you'll actually see all the detail around the dinosaur's mouth. So they have added in a lot of new little bits and pieces, and we'll go over how they've sort of layered to make the cake. And then we'll look at all the different elements that they put in with this. But if you look, they all are all holding different bits. And if you look quickly, I don't zoom in because I didn't spot it at first. There is actually the Lego cake around that dinosaur's mouth. Because like I said, this was just going to be a quick pan round like I'm doing now, and then we move on. But I spotted little bits and pieces in this egg as well, because when I went round, I've never actually noticed that there is an eye with the cake being broken out, ready for, so that is an eyeball that's looking at us, and it's got the texture and the colour of a little baby dinosaur ready to come out. I've come to this Lego house 3 or 4 times and I have never ever spotted that. So that is another reason why we will now have a good and true look at all of these. And in the comments below, let me know if there's anything that you spot. Let me know what you think of the building elements to this, and it is very, very interesting how they've actually constructed the Lego Technic with regards to how they've actually put the pins and what elements that they've used with regards to, say, for example, the tracks that they use on the more larger sort of construction vehicles. They have them all over those, which again, never ever spotted until I sort of stopped and actually started to have a proper look. Makes a massive difference when you're not exhausted trying to do these videos. At the same time, you're not rushed as well, because it was really nice and quiet on the time that I came in. And I've only just noticed now of what they're actually stood on. They're all stood on a little brick as well. So that one, look, he stood on a little brick under his foot, as was the other one. I didn't even spot that when I was there, but this is the Technic cake. You can see the bottom one with the pin that's been pushed in, and then you can see all the elements that are used within that cake and how they put the 90 together with the different flame effects and everything as well. So what can you spot? Do you think you could make this on a miniature version? Because there is a lot going on within this video, and this is more of a case of if you could almost copy and paste the ideas that they've done. That one's got a little smiley face on the ice lolly. They do change, I think, from time to time as well. I think what they actually put in the dinosaur's hands will change a little bit from time to time, because obviously it's the summer, so they're holding on to the ice lollies, and each one has its own ice lolly. And I think, again, in the winter, that will then change to a slightly different display, and I think it might change again for Halloween as well, because for Halloween, obviously, the cakes will be replaced with the pumpkins. Now, again, just spotted this for the first time. The egg has little baby feet underneath. Never spotted that. There's a lot of stuff that I have never spotted until now. So I will keep waffling on until we start looking at this in much greater details. I think when we start getting around to the tail, that's when we really start looking at it in massive details. I start spotting quite a lot of different bits and pieces. but I'm just amazed by the amount of Technic pins that they use. And if you start looking at how they've actually pinned all of these little bits together and how they've just used the elements to do the different bits, it's incredible. So now, look, this is where I start to spot the tail. So you can see that they use the elements. I've now just clocked on of what these bits are, and they are the big tracks to make the black ring around the tail, and they've used that quite a bit. So this is the first time I really got zoomed in and had a really good detailed look. That was a battery, by the way, that died, so we had to start again. But you can just see, look how many layers and pins and everything that I used. I've never ever stopped and paid this much attention. And I'm a bit ashamed of myself because it's one of those where you do a loop, you think, yeah, it looks absolutely fantastic, but you don't really appreciate the amount of pieces that are within this. And then there we go, there's the tracks going back around the tail again. So I stop and zoom back in, and now it's game on with regards to having a look for all the bits and pieces on the Lego one and also the Technic one as well. And we'll have a much better look at all the smaller bits. So there we go. Look, so he is stood on a little brick. I never spotted that until right now. Look at all the scoops and everything. So you've got the excavator scoops all around the outside on the ankles. Just how they've layered everything off to give the effect. And you see what I mean about the eyes with regards to like the Duplo eyes. I think from further back, it just looked like they were two black eyes, but they're actually two cats that they've used just to give that effect from sort of greater distance. The other little elements that they've used, you can see they've got a lot of green in there. They've changed the colours of the pin on the yellows, and obviously they've made it very construction based. It's very, very similar to the excavator with regards to sort of like that massive hip and all the way up into the head as well, because I'm actually looking at the Lego Technic set 42055 right now. I think that's the same scoops that they've used, because that's the size of the scoops, I think, that are in that they've used on this all round, higher up, lower down by the ankle, which obviously a much smaller one. And then you go around to the toes and look at the top of the toe, look around sort of by the knuckle of the toe. They've used more of the tracks. So that's a great use of the actual tracks. So if you have some spare tracks around, you can now start using them for different bits and pieces. I had never thought to start using those for anything like that. And then you've got the baby version. This now has the wheels on instead of the larger bits, just to split it up a little bit, so you can see the almost like the fan effect around the arms and how teeny tiny his little arms are. And then we'll have a good look at the teeth and the eyes and just how they've done the different bits. So you can see that they've used a disc for his eye, and you've got the sort of like shark teeth that they've used for that. So I'm not 100% sure what element or what set that'll be from, but you can see his teeny tiny little claw hands on his arms on that one. And again, you've got some scoops and everything just split in, so it's very, very clever how they've done it. And then this is where I actually spotted that the feet are on the egg, so hence why I get down and have a good look at this as well. So have you come to the Lego house before? Did you pay this much attention to it, or were you a bit like me, where you were sort of a bit gobsmacked with regards to looking at it all? You took a load of photos, but didn't really appreciate all the hidden details, and almost like the hidden Easter eggs to anybody that knows what all the part numbers are and what all the elements are. I think it's an amazing thing. Just zooming in this much, you can just see each individual piece internally of the skeleton. You can't see anything else. There's no metal frame in there or anything that you can spot and see as we come up underneath his big chin and then onto his teeth. And then you can see, just up top, you can see his eye as well. But just look at how they've layered the texture of his black mouth. And as we could then pan round and down. The Technic one, to me, was a lot easier to spot the different elements, just because, obviously, there's so many different types that they've used in there, and you can see all the different pins that they've had to push into the back of the cake, and then what they've actually used for the 90. And it wasn't until I then started to slow down and then have a look. Now I'm starting to look at all the different bits and pieces with regards to how each foot is completely different and all the different colours that they've used. So obviously there's two different types of tan. You've got green, you've got a bit of orange on his foot, and then obviously it comes up and round. You've got the more lime green. That's obviously they're standing out. So it's not with regards to this is more obvious that you can spot the different bits and pieces apart from the ice lolly. But again, he's got the teeny tiny little hands and claws. It's up the mouth that we suddenly spot, and all around his gum you'll notice that it's yellow, and that is because of the massive chunk that is missing from the cake, which we will have a better look in a second as we come round. So we'll take a better look at the spikes on his back, and you can just see how they've layered everything. So hopefully, if you do build bits and pieces, I have no skill whatsoever to mock anything of my own at all. but hopefully now you can appreciate the effort that they put into these models. And now we'll have a better look at the cake, and also how they've tried to layer it. So you can see that they've got just the pieces on the top, how they've made the 90, but just look how thick and how many layers they are to this cake. I've tried to zoom in best as possible so you can see all the different types of elements that have been used, so if it gives you any ideas whatsoever to try and make your own version of this cake. Hopefully you can pause it and just sort of get a better understanding of what can be used. And then, like I said, we come round and then we can see the eye within this cake and just what pieces that they've used for this as well, and how they've staggered it and looped it round. And then obviously what it stood on as well. It's just amazing when you really sort of stop and really start to focus. I could have spent a lot longer on this, but like I said, it was just a bonus video. This wasn't planned, but I just thought it was perfect because as I was filming this room then started to empty out a little bit. And then it gave me basically a clear run of all the glass cabinets, which is another sort of 15-minute video. So within this playlist, depending on when they are being uploaded, I'm obviously uploading the sort of more birthday bits first. Some of the displays have just changed, so they don't need to be uploaded urgently because they're not sort of birthday related. And I would imagine hopefully that they might change again for the Halloween as well. So you have got a lot of display bits and pieces to come, and there's a lot of exploring of Billund and also how things are progressing with regards to everything in Billund as well. And there we go. So that is the cake on his mouth. He has taken one big massive chunk out of that. But yes, you have a lot to come. The video before this was the spinning birthday cake, 94,000 pieces. It's definitely worth watching all the way through that video, only because when it starts to get going, it actually gives the effect of the elements moving, and it's a very, very impressive thing. Now, as we come up and round, I don't know much about Duplo, and I don't know what all these pieces would become from. But if you do pay attention and look in, so there we go, I spotted the scoops. That's where I was thinking, wow, okay, there is actually quite a lot of detail to this. You've obviously got all the farm animals that are dotted on around. So we have got, there's chickens, there's ducks, there's all of the plantation all around the outside, but as we come up and around the back, it gives they've put a lot of animals on. And again, he's got his little spray, and he's got his own little ice lolly. And again, you've got the little scoops for claws, because when you zoom in you can't really make out what part of that dinosaur it is, but when you pan away again it all looks really, really clean. It would be nicer if I had a slightly longer zoom, I think, for bits and pieces like this, so you can really sort of get the gist of the detail, because the camera is fully zoomed in. It's obviously only a little handheld vlog camera, but it is what it is. So you can see all of these different animals. I don't know what sets they'll be from. If you are a Duplo fan, please let me know what sets these would be from, and obviously, do you prefer the Duplo, do you prefer the Lego, or do you prefer the Technic dinosaur? Guys, we've got about 2 minutes left, so I'm going to say it now. If you can like and subscribe and all that good stuff, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Hopefully this video has been very, very, well, I say helpful with regards to the different building elements, so you can see how that is completely different layered, and how the teeth are completely different on that one, because obviously the pieces that they've used, they might not have any spiky parts, so they've just used the sort of the cylinder shapes instead for that one. And then as we come down to the little baby dinosaur, you can see all at the tail, they've used like all the deer and all the other colours just to break it up a little bit. But now we are actually looking at its mouth, its nose, which is easy enough to see, but his eyes, or her eyes, are cats. So check that out. They've added cat elements on both sides for its eyes. So when you're much further away, you get a perfect photo. But I've never noticed that either. So if you had, fair play to you. Me, never. And you can, if you just have to follow the claws for its arms. So it's got one arm up on this one arm down, and it's stood on the egg, and obviously you can see the claws for its toes. Sorry, it's the claws and its toes down at the bottom. And up for its arms, where they've used the scoops for its claws, you can see that its arms and everything were staggered. So it's got teeny Rex arms again. And then we will follow this one up and round. But guys, that's it. I am done. Completely run out of time. Comments below. Let me know what your favourite one is. Let me know if there's something you can do, and hopefully it was helpful. But guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. You guys take care, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Ta-da.